This tackling again is superb, but Tall got it to James. Good pass. Harkins goes on and gets his second. 13 points up on the Borough. Kick off the ground from Scurra. James. Nice kick. Gasparoni.
No easy kicks today. There's one though for James. Thumps it to half forward. Gasparoni. Jennings on for Port. Long hand pass, and accurate too to James.
In this second half against the dominant ruckman. James couldn't get his kick in. Ridden down by Scurra. Adam James, just his second game of VFA football. Loose man in the middle.
State game, Victoria, South Australia clash tomorrow. Women's football at Box Hill. So that should be a good one.
Adam James in towards goal. Good looking kick off the left boot. And it's through as the goal umpire loses his hat. That shows how strong the wind is. Give him some sticky tape or something, Mr. Aidan Termy, to stick down their hats down there as Adam James kicks another goal for Port Melbourne. The Boroughs have 5 goals too, and Dandenong got 3 straight goals.
I don't think it's Aidan's job, it's Bill Della's job, isn't it?
Well,
the other thing is, you know, you might question the goal umpire in terms of his hat selection or size selection, Smokey. And he goes in short, and what's on here? Yes, poor defence by Sandringham.
Oscar Harkins. No, it's
Adam
sorry,
Williams. Adam James, in fact. He will line up directly in front from about 40 metres. His kick, oh, it looks good. Yes, the minute it left the boot, just didn't deviate through the air, went straight through the centre, and Port Melbourne go further ahead. 27-point lead to the Borough.
Yes, Sam, I thought I mentioned at half-time, I just thought there were some ominous signs in the game as far as Sandringham were concerned. And Port Melbourne are really marching on now, doing everything right. A very good side, this one. It'll take a lot of shaking to knock off for that premiership.
Harkins tries to break the tackle. He's held high. Free to Harkins. He gets a kick up to half forward. Oh, beautifully done to Hicks. Hicks runs onto James. James in on open goal. And the Borough's 10th. Wonderful passage of play by Port Melbourne, Phil Cleary. They linked up beautifully in midfield. The runners.
The speed, Sam. They just when it opens up, they are so dangerous. I said earlier, when that ball gets inside 50, they can do just about anything, Port. Ashley Hicks onto it in a flash. Flicked it out to James. There's Harkins, the penalty, the free kick. Tim Harrington should have tackled better. He had him set up. And look at Hicks go here. And there's all the experience in the world on display as he hands it off to James. Through she goes.
For their 16th grand final, they're the most successful team in VFA competition. Just when you thought it was safe to be in the final, said the banner, we're back. And it was no barrier for Jack Love there, leading out this Borough lineup. And they certainly have set the agenda this season. They won the first 8 games in a row this year.
Wilson, and of course you've got on the other wing probably the best winger of all is Cullen. So that will have an overall a huge bearing on the outcome of this game.
Kicking it out wide for Adam James. What's offering him? Harkins called for it, but he goes long instead, and it was a good option. It's Steins. Oh, there's some nerves. Just 21 years of age, Brian Steins. Harkins from Love, but it was out of bounds.
See, Harrington has the job on Love.
Grimes heads, well, that's way over Kieran's head. Thumping it. Oh, there's a late one from
50 metres, yes. Well, this is what sides have got to realise, that you cannot afford to go.
Off he goes, James threads it, and Port are in front now. It's taken to the 21-minute mark of the second quarter, which has been all David Cloke's team.
Well, what a funny game football is. Dominated entirely by Werribee this game for the greater portion of the game, and at one stage looked like being a whitewash. Now, 21 minutes into the second term, Port Melbourne in front. And why, you may ask? Well, one of the guys responsible is this guy on screen, and of course their work ethic and work rate has lifted enormously. They're much harder at the ball, and some of the Werribee players are not quite as adept as they appear when they ain't got the ball.
Rayburn met him well. That's Donald who's kept going. Bailey to James. Good football. The game's really flowing now, and the lead has changed 3 times in this quarter. Porter now back in front.
Yeah, well, tremendous play. The more I see Sexton, the more I am impressed with him. But the little men are really having an influence on this game. Evans is the target, and why wouldn't he be?
Good hand pass from here. On the end of the kick is James. Some good midfielders, the Borough. Looks for Munch. Look at the height.
Just couldn't take it with him. Munch.
Good play. Great play.
And is it a goal? James makes sure of it by kicking from 1.5 metres. So that's a 10-point lead for Port Melbourne. And we've played 23 minutes first quarter at Northport.
Yes, well, Eric Munch does very well in this little passage of play. So he gets grabbed, but it's a very good handball.
Good vision, Phil.
Was to Sexton, and then to James, and James sinks it. Easy in the end, but great setup.
On. Good advantage. Cloesy's kick. Munch gives a shove. James can bypass the full forward and slot it. Good footy. So James gets his second goal, and this quarter has been all the Borough. They've kicked 5 goals to nothing. And as we look at the replay, some terrific news from the dressing rooms. Luke Donald has regained consciousness. He's required some sutures in the dressing room and is off to hospital for observation. But that,
it was worrying because he was shaking a bit, and I was a bit concerned. A lot of blood, but that's great news.
Boundary throwing 20 metres away. Love, can he atone? Oh, good play. Spots James unattended in front from 15 metres and drills through. The Borough's 15th major. Now they're within 7 points, and have we got a game on our hands now?
Well,
it's almost as if their integrity and courage had been questioned.
Just tremendous. Look at this handball. How does he spot him? Players everywhere as he finds James, not with a left hand but with a right hand, just weaved a little line through the back there like he was sewing up a sock.
Yeah, just threw it out, I'd say.
No.
Well, Ross, yes, you got it for. No, I thought he kept
was moving a bit, but no, it was fair enough.
Good work by Brad Lloyd and Love. Oh, almost a free kick. Unlucky Jason Love. Kane Bowden kept James it is, kept it in play. Great work on the left foot. The Port supporters go up. He's got it.
Yes.
A great effort by Adam James and Jason Love to keep fighting there against Brad Lloyd, and that goal brings Port Melbourne to within 9 points. And Philip, we've had 26.5 minutes in the final quarter. And watch Jason Love's fighting here with.
Well, he did fight hard. He was a bit stiff there, but he really fell over. And James, look at him at ground level. He just pats the ball out, goes after it on the left boot. And when you look at it, you know, that time when Clengens was free, running down the ground, a goal then, they're still in it. 9 points, they've got to get 2 goals in about 2.5 minutes.
Too strong. Feeds it to McGee, who's run from half back. James. In the back of Weeding. And in the dying minutes of the game, James should be able to goal. He's wasting no time. Let's just hope he kicks the goal for his and Port's sake. He did. Adam James, a late goal, his first, and the margin back to 18 points.
Yes, Laffy
play the ball, mate.
in the midfield. I like Laffy in the midfield. I also like him in the ruck. James there, finishing off the goal. A bit too late.
On the bounce, out to Brett Taylor, off interchange, flips it around the corner for James. He's had a go at them. Yes! System! 10 points the difference now for the Borough. And James weighed the situation up. His big men were covered, so he went for home.
And that was the one they needed. Just needed to break the ice. Every time they'd gotten within a couple of goals, 3 goals, the Springvale would get another one. And this was good play from Cameron too, who'd put it over the top. And James there, found the opening very, very nicely.
Good play from Brett Taylor, interchange there under pressure.
Yes, it was.
Hooked the ball around the corner. Here they go again. James from 50. Is it as good as Berry's? It is. 2 in a minute for the Borough. Difference 10 points.
Well, that centre bounce has just been superb for the Borough. You've got to take your hat off to Laffey in the ruck. And Sexton, he's been great. His handball's been superb. James beats the tackle from outside, from around about the 50 mark. Well, what a lift for Port Melbourne.
The chain through the centre wicket area, makes the ball come back to himself. They haven't kicked the ball yet and they've gone 60 metres with it. On the end is James. What a goal from the Borough. Kelly involved there with the final handball, but there are about 8 handballs there. And Box Hill didn't touch the footy.
No, Peter, they are just too slick in the midfield. And aren't they good with the ball? The way they're setting it up, they're so keen to be creative with the ball. And at each occasion, they try to get the player into a really good attacking position. Don't kick early. We see Bailey here going through. And Kelly. And finally, it comes out to James. And bang, through she goes.
That just went 10 metres in the end. Cloesy rides the bump. Should be a goal here. Shorty James gets it.
Yes.
2 points the difference in favour of Preston now.
Well, he's been right in amongst it, Adam James, in his first 10 minutes, or 8 minutes of the first quarter. Saw him kick a swag of goals here a few weeks back. And off the pack there, it was Morrissey. Was it punching? Maybe it wasn't.
Actually, I think it was the punch from Munavrana.
Munavrana, actually, and James onto it, as we so often see him do.
Missed by Bailey trying to go off the ground. It's 1 of 2. Sexton keeps trying. Glenn Hoffman.
Yes.
Bang goes Adam James, the captain. Been a good player as Adam James kicks Port's 14th goal.
Well, they're good. They've had the best, or one of the best group of running players in the competition over the last couple of years. James, Bailey, Cheel, Harkins. And there you saw one of them, Adam James, just do what he does. Every time he goes out onto a football field, intercepts, heads for goal, and bangs through a beautiful goal.
Who are you going to lobby for best of field today, Phil?
Second, only 4 goals, 14 in the second. 2 apiece.
Butterworth, beautiful play.
James should goal from here. The wind bringing it back.
Beautiful football.
So back to 10 points.
Sorry, Ross, wasn't that a beautiful handball from Butterworth then? Going long to James, giving him lots of space. That's really class football. And he knows he's trying to draw the player. That's superb. James just sneaking it in. Marked in the crowd.
He moves around and throws it onto the right boot in the direction of Sexton. And Adam James. James gets it moving out to Kershaw. The play going out to the outer side of the ground. Big flyer there was Bennett, couldn't take it. Port Melbourne mop up beautifully into there. Goes up forward and a beautiful grab taken up there by Adam James, the skipper. Another ex-Tiger boy, Shane, you'll be happy to know. Former Richmond guy. He's putting it nicely. Adam James going to kick from about 40 metres out, slight angle. It's only little, isn't he? 170 centimetres. But pretty solid for that height at 83 kilos. Kick on its way. They're pretty happy with it, Port. Pretty happy with it, and they move further ahead, 11-10-76. Just creeping further and further away from the home side. And if Tarragon's going to get something going, they've got to get it going now. Coming up to about 9 minutes gone in the last quarter. What would you be doing if you were hocking at this stage? Would you just throw the players around a little bit, move the...
Yeah, why not? You've got nothing to lose. I think now they've put Doyle's back in the ruck.
And Peter Bedford to toss the coin down there. A great VFA and AFL player, Peter Bedford, started his career at Port Melbourne.
Okay, so up it goes.
Tails it is.
Won by James of Port Melbourne there, and good to see Peter Bedford here.
Well, I did play against him in 1979. He was at Port Melbourne. They had some great players back from the league. Terrific to have you with us, Peter.
Setchell, very clever, gains possession, pretty cool customer, hand pass over the top, this is okay. Doherty, beautiful kick, James marks. Great vision.
Yes, Rob. Beautiful centering play there by Doherty. Putting it, look where he's put that ball to James. You couldn't ask for better than that. And James, astoundingly, not manned at the time. What a goal this will be.
Ross issuing the instructions or barking them, and James has kicked a goal for Port Melbourne, having kicked 3 behinds in the first quarter.
Well, it's really starting in the centre of the ground here for Port Melbourne. Hope they're going in, Justin Hope against Troy Patterson, and Troy Patterson doesn't have the bulk or the height to really handle him, and it's a big problem. Saad Ghazi telling him what to do, but you see there Doherty spinning the ball there into the corridor. That's a beautiful piece of work. You've got to give the bloke a big rap for that. Coaches love to see that happen.
About 3.5 minutes we estimate, past 25 minutes now, and perhaps 4 minutes left to kick a couple of goals. Port Melbourne, they've been terrific. Here's a big chance for them. Cloesy in towards full forward. Oh, I should have taken that. The skipper now, great play, goal. They're right back in this Port Melbourne. They've kicked the last 3 and are coming home with a wet sail.
Well, if you don't mind, the last one by Edwards was a pearler, a torpedo punt, but the way James stepped through those players there, that was, well, it was everything. It was Gary Ablett, was all the champions you can think of, and there he is on screen, Bomber James. Fantastic piece. Peter Dacosta and Cloesy there, and James Spill there. Look at this. Through he goes. Magnificent.